You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt Migaki, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Johannes Ekström of Avatar. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers!
Hey there. I'm guessing you're probably already aware of this, but you are listening to a podcast. And this podcast has musicians on it. And sometimes musicians say things on podcasts that they wouldn't get to say on the radio. And ladies and germs, this is one of those times, so, you know, if you have delicate sensibilities or are a child, maybe this isn't the episode for you. Then again, maybe it is. It's awesome, so really it should be for everyone. Enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the ToneMob.com podcast. As per usual, I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and today we're talking to Ryan Ratajski of Fuzzrocious Pedals.
Oh, you got it right. Awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I had to do a little homework on that, but I didn't want to say it wrong because, you know, well, let's be honest. I'm such a professional. I couldn't bear to say the name wrong.
Please, as long as it starts with a R and ends with a ski, then we're fine.
All right.
Maybe there's a T in there, maybe there's not. Maybe the J gets pronounced, and maybe it turns into a Y. Who knows?
Whatever works, though, right?
Yes.
So what's been going on? How's the day going? What's kicking?
I am counting down the minutes until the kids go back to school. I left my job from my teaching job in March of this year. This is 2015, I think, and
Something like that.
yeah, it might be 2015. If you're listening to this in 2016, then it's 2016. Or if you're listening to this in 2014, I haven't quit my job yet. But yeah, I quit my job then. It was pretty rad and pretty crazy to be like on a grind, like, you know, like the rest of the pedal dudes are doing. Then the kids came home at the end of June, and we knew things were going to be a little slow, and they definitely have slowed down. But the crazy thing is, like, it's still faster than like when I was working the full-time job and being like dad dude. So yeah, my day today was like take the kids to the zoo, come back, and then grind all afternoon and that. So you're just gonna get it in. We can get it in when we're done this tonight. My wife and I are gonna sit down and veg out and watch like Top Chef and Walking Dead and whatever else we can find, and put parts in hardware and all that stuff. So yeah, the grind continues, and yeah, man. So you've been at work today, huh?
Yes, as per usual. So yeah, I'm hoping to maybe one day I can get to that spot where start doing something like this full time, but we'll see what happens. So
Hey man, just keep your sights positive, and I'm a negative Nelly, so like yeah, it's easy for me to tell other people, oh, just stay positive. Nah, man, if you want it hard enough, you know, you'll find your way.
yeah, that's definitely the ultimate goal. I can't complain too much. I'm still the new guy in town as far as all this is concerned, so I'm just glad for everybody tuning in right now. And yeah, and in the future, in the past, like we discussed. So that will be very interesting to be talking to people from the past.
Yeah, yeah. If we can do that, actually, I think we have to get like, I don't know, like an eventide pedal to like give us like a time factor to like
Oh,
warp back in time and do that. I think they're working on something currently. So
oh well, I'm gonna have to get those dudes on the show and try to explain to me how that works.
there you go.
There we go. Nice. So, what I normally like to do is I like to get into everybody's musical backstory, and that's been very entertaining so far. So, like, kind of where did it all start for you? I mean, like, guitars in general, besides the
Ha.
company, just like,
Um, well, I started in high school. Like I always wanted to be in a band and whatever, and um, never played an instrument. Like my brother played piano, and I didn't give a shit at all about piano stuff. And looking back, I should have. There's the
it
train. Your
is.
ride's here. Um, so yeah, I ended up singing in like or screaming or whatever I did in a ska punk band for a couple of years, and then grew up, like everyone else who plays in a ska band, they grow up and they're like, oh, I want to play punk rock and hardcore. So then I did a band called 2 Days dot 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 for a couple years, and we toured Midwest and lots of Canada and did all that stuff in East Coast, and then that came time to, and again, just singing and screaming and whining, but not playing an instrument. I bought a bass in I want to 2001, and I was just like, just jamming on stuff in my room. And yeah, so I just never really did anything, just playing like punk rock stuff or whatever. Uh, Fast forward to 2004. I hadn't been in a band in a couple years, and one of my wife's friends came over with her husband, and he was like, literally, he goes, "Uh, we vibe pretty well. You look pretty cool. Um, you wanna like, and you got your bass. Like, you wanna come play bass in my band?" I'm like, I've like never played bass before. Nah, it's cool, man. It's really easy. Like, I'll teach you how to play. Like, just practice the songs. It's cool. So started to learn how to play shoegaze, something I'd never heard of by that point. I didn't know what it was, and then I think shoegaze is really bad for dudes who are getting into it because all of a sudden you start looking down at your feet and now you have no pedals, but you look down at your friend's feet and they all have all these pedals, and you're like, oh, what's that thing? Okay, so all right, well I'll get a delay. I had a delay for my vocals. I'll do that. That's cool. Oh, I need a tuner. Well, let me get the tuner pedal so I don't have like a little plug-in tuner. Oh, well, let me get a Sans amp, like 3 channel thing because, one of my buddies plays one of those. So that's where pedals started for me and bass started for me. Um, and then I started like I was super duper into Minus the Bear, and I'm like, well, no one's really like in punk rock or anything, like no one's really tapping on bass. Let me start tapping a little bit more and doing that. So that was kind of like cool and like the shoegaze thing. Quit that thing, joined a band with some of my friends, and then long story short, that evolves into Caval when I was doing that for a couple years, and that's actually started back up again. And I had, bought like a real bass amp. I started getting into more pedals, and then I looked down at my friends' boards, and they've got all these like Devi pedals, and they've got Line 6 pedals, and then my buddy Lucas has all these pedals that are like unlabeled, unmarked. And what's that? Oh, these are clones. Like build your own clone and General Guitar Gadgets. Like I built these with my dad. He's like, yeah, you should build yourself like a muff. Sure. My dad knows how to solder. Done. Um, so my dad sat down. I got a kit from GGG, um, started soldering, and that's kind of where it's been. So like playing in bands and making pedals have been a hand in hand thing for me. And it's a little cliche with like what dudes talk about, but like I make pedals that like I would be interested in using for my music or like for whatever I'm playing or whatever. So yeah, that's how it all kind of came together, the fast, dirty version.
I can't say it sounds too cliche. It kind of makes sense to make things that you would like to use. I mean, I don't really know of anybody making things that they don't want to use
Yeah.
themselves. But that would be probably make it for a pretty poor design. But I mean, what do I know? I've soldered a couple cables. That's about the extent of my experience with that. Oh, and some pickups and things like that. But
Were they the cables? Did you do solderless or did you solder your
no,
cables?
soldered them. That's the route I thought seemed more stable from my um, mechanicking days.
That's cool.
I figured that the solderless are cool in some regards, but for durability, I just don't have a lot of confidence in that system myself. But that's just me.
But you've got confidence in your soldering, so that's good.
Is that the first step? Because I have been kicking
Yeah,
around getting me
because
a BYOC kit and just starting to give it a go, but I haven't actually done it yet.
do it.
Do it.
Yes. Or the old 1998 is do it, you won't. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So Fuzzrocious has been around in kind of its, well, I mean, I wouldn't say current form because you quit your job in March, but in a form of selling pedals. For how long now? When did it actually kind of become a business? And was it one of those classic things where you made a couple for your buddies and it just rolled from there? Is that how that went down?
That's the easy version to explain it. Yeah, that's like I said, I made that first pedal with my dad, and then immediately I was like, oh, like this is really cool, and like, oh, I built a muff. I'm like, oh, there's these different versions, and okay, that's cool. Let me certainly try to wrap my head around that. Oh, they have an envelope filter out there. It's like, so then I hit up like all of my buddies I used to tour with, or like anybody I knew like that was in a band that was kind of doing something. I'm like, hey, like I'm making pedals. Like, what can I make for you? Like, I'll just do it at cost, and that's how it started. Yeah, we just did that. So for a couple years, that was my son was born in 2008, and he was literally like in like a rocker next to me while we were soldering, not breathing in the fumes, but he was there. So that's how we kind of mark everything, as like when I really started making pedals. And then, but I wouldn't say it was like straight up a business maybe until about 2010, 2000, late 2009, 2010, somewhere around there, when like we started making the gray stash. And that was more like on Vero board. It wasn't from a kit. It was really, the kits really helped us get our feet wet with like just learning how to solder and trying to figure out like where things should generally go. But what I tell everybody who's interested in getting into like making pedals and stuff, I always talk about Vero board, and I think that's what really helps somebody who hasn't been versed in EE and all that stuff to understand like where things are and where they're going. Because if for people who aren't familiar with Vero board, it's or strip board. It's called the strip board generally. Um, they're just like strips or whatever, and that connects your whole circuit across however long that strip board is. And then when you want things to not connect, you make a hole. It breaks the circuit so you don't ground things out or short things out. And it starts to you start to figure out like, oh, this diode goes to ground here. Oh, well, off of the op amp here. Oh, ground goes to this bottom left one. Oh, and then you find out, oh, that's pin 4. It helps you it helps you take those baby steps to learning how to do something in a more non-traditional way. Some of us didn't choose to start out in engineering in some point, but you really love what you do. So I have 100% respect for those guys who like had the foresight to be like, nah, like engineering's really cool. This is what I really love, and like they find guitar pedals. Like that's that's something that I really respect. And in another life, that would be like where I would tell myself like, marine biology wasn't the best thing. Like go into go into electrical engineering. Like this is where your sights should be set. But yeah, Veriboard. And then so that was like 2009, 2010, and then we hooked up with Brian Hamilton from Small Sound Big Sound, and he hooked us up with making our own printed circuit boards, PCBs. And I think that's really where things kind of took off, where things started to really feel like things that we're making. Take a building block from X circuit and you turn it into Y circuit. It's been baby steps. Haven't Yeah, that's the story.
That's and you're sticking to it, I take it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see what the next podcast is or something like that, and I'll change the story. No, I'm sticking to that. That's it.
Oh man, that would be interesting. Well, I heard he went to college for electrical engineering, and on this other show, I don't know what you guys are talking about. That'd be a trip. Anyway, it was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
until someone asks me like that question of like, well, how do you create a sine wave whenever I'm just like, nah, you caught me.
On an oscilloscope. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
But
on your old Texas Instruments um calculator.
yeah.
Yeah, I still couldn't figure out how to make that. My graphing calculator. Yeah, I'm learning though. I am. I'm still learning. I think that's I think the uplifting thing with this too is like I'm interested to learn the why and the how that this stuff's getting done. Like I'm not just like haphazardly just throwing this shit together. It's like as I go along, like I had a conversation with a Christian from Adventure Audio the other day, who is up at I think RPI, I want to say, doing he's like doing electrical engineering and stuff. So like I can go and bounce an idea off him and be like, oh, hey, you messed with the tube screamer for your Siamese growler. I've got a project coming up that a band wants me to help them make. It's based around the tube screamer. Haven't messed with this thing. Tell me about what what do you know about the buffer here? What do you know about this transistor? What have you swapped here? Like, to trade those ideas to start to learn a little bit more about shit I don't know about, and that's cool. And like the community is pretty accepting for like being helpful. There's some definite shitheads out there, but yeah, it's nice to have a good support structure too.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you have any like since we're talking about my mind wanders sometimes. The questions go a little off
Me
tangent.
too.
This will go good then. So I was just thinking, like, he keeps talking about circuits. Circuits. I wonder. Oh, what do you have? Like a kind of a. We were talking about earlier, kind of getting started with kits and whatever. Do you have a particular circuit or pedal you'd recommend for somebody just kind of starting out, like to get their feet wet for their first little build, like kind of maybe a step above a like ABY pedal or something like.
Yeah, yeah. If you're gonna start on a kit, don't be adventurous like I was and start on a big muff. Like thank goodness, like we were able to figure out our little problems like the first time we made it. That's a pretty generally big circuit for I would say like a medium level dude to work on. So like if you've got soldering skill and maybe a little bit of idea what you're going, yeah, maybe start with that. But if you're just kind of starting fresh, the nice thing about build your own clone is that if it's your first order and you mention that's your first order with them, they'll send you out a very simple signal booster that to practice on. So like basically if you can make this thing and you can make it work, now step up to like the next step. If you go to Mad Bean Pedals, they actually have like breakdowns of like this is something for a novice, this is something for a cowboy. Like it lets you know like if you're not really comfortable with your skills, maybe you should start at their novice level. And I think that's a really good delineation. But basically the more parts you've got in a pedal, the more chances that something is going to go wrong and you're not going to know how to debug it as a noob when you're doing it like we all were when we got started. So I would say like something like the LPB1, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
linear polar booster from EHX, and you can get a clone of that from General Guitars. You can get a clone of that from BYOC, but I go with BYOC because then that, like I said, they're gonna give you that tester so you can be like, don't go all the way in, just dip my toe into this, and then practice from there. But be prepared to be super upset and super frustrated. And all I can say is that put it down. Like when you get so frustrated that like you want to rip your hair out and it's like time for bed, just breathe, put it down, walk away, and put it away for like 2 days, and then come back to it. Because then all of a sudden, like you're like, oh, I put this on the wrong row, or I put this wrong part in. Yeah, it's so rewarding but so frustrating
Right.
when you're learning.
Yeah.
I guess it still is now. So
Yeah, it's got one of my buddies. He recently, well, not recently, probably a year ago, put together a BYOC trem, and that was the first thing he'd ever done. And I was like, I should be able to pull that off. He made it sound pretty easy, but then I started looking at it and going, oh boy, here we go. I don't know if I'm ready for this. He has substantially more electronics knowledge than me, but that's his first. That is his first pedal, so it made me get cocky for a half a second, and then I decided that I shouldn't do that. This guy actually does repair electrical equipment other than things, for a living. So,
but you have a tremolo on your bass or guitar. It's called the volume. You can just sit there and just put the volume up and down.
I'm just not that fast.
Look at that. I can do it really fast.
Oh man, it's got that nice choppy sound too that we all.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You just did something. You just did something interesting. You know what it was?
uh, made a guitar sound that people might not be able to hear on the podcast.
No, they'll be able to hear that. You're the first person to play guitar on the guitar related podcast.
Believe me, I don't play guitar. I just chop at this thing and play it like a bass. It's awful. But yeah, that's cool.
Well,
I'm a winner.
it's the first guitar. Well, okay, it's the first interviewee guitar sound on this podcast. I was gonna say first guitar, but then there's the intro music, so that's not quite accurate. But so I should send you like a gold star or something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey, you already sent me a couple beers, so I think that's the goldest star that I can get.
Oh, that's true. I'm crossing my fingers they arrive safe and sound. I've never shipped beer before, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one.
That's fine. It's safer than shipping weed through the mail. So.
Well, that's true.
Wait. You're in Portland. Did you ship me wheat?
Well, it's a surprise. I figured, you own your own business now. You're probably and you're working for yourself. You're probably not drug testing yourself. I mean, you don't eat. This is I feel like I've had this conversation with other builders before, or something along those lines.
I think weed is kind of synonymous with like dudes and doing this. Not and I would say going from dudes who were doing like big doomy stonery shit, but also just dudes who are doing whatever. And we're not going to get political, but I think the shift in the nation's just kind of changing right now with what weed is and all that stuff. And
I sure hope so.
But then you can see there's dudes like Doug from Dark Glass, and I believe he's not a weed smoker and stuff. And everybody's got their vice, whether it's like lifting or weed or alcohol. I think we all kind of use something to I'm not going to say the word enhance because I don't think smoking weed or drinking like enhances like what I do, because I typically don't try to do either of those things while I'm working or anything. But those things I think they help distract a little bit from the stress of doing this as a job, because when you're your own boss, it's a little hairy from month to month sometimes to make sure that we're getting paid and we're not running the business into a deficit. And yeah, so if you're going to lift and then that can help you drive something in your personal life, that's rad. If you smoke a little weed here and there to just kind of break the day apart and chill out, cool. It's to each his own.
That's right. We're all about it. To each his own. Excuse me. My brain goes in so many directions, and I realize that yes, we are a Guitar Gear podcast, and that's what we're going to talk about. Even though I was going to ask you some more stuff about weed and alcohol in relation to things.
That's fine. See, this isn't the Going Off Track podcast, but I'm going to make it Going Off Track.
No. If you listen to episode 1, this is the Going Off Track podcast. That is basically what happens. So it's all fine and dandy. So let's see. I'm gonna try to kick this thing back on the rails, though. Let's do classic question. Let's do anything coming down the pipeline that people should be getting excited about, or you want to talk about.
Well, I'm getting a vasectomy in November. No, so this isn't that off track. Are you ready?
Well, hey, wait. How your kids are gonna grow up, and the kid painting stuff's gonna drastically change. You're gonna need somebody else. Don't do that. You're gonna need another kid painter.
Oh no. People are gonna catch on that they're just doing crazy shit on these pedals. But no. So here's the deal. So I'm getting a vasectomy it's supposed to be right before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is like from Black Friday, Cyber Monday through like the New Year. That is the busiest time of year for us pedal dudes. Well, I mean, I guess the guitar industry, period.
Right.
Everybody's buying. So I'm freaking out a little bit about that because I'm just like, well, I'm not going to feel great for like a week or two. Like whatever, I'll figure this out. So one of my buddies, James, who I'm in Caval with, he was like, hey, what if you what if you bring back like all the pedals that like you've discontinued or whatever, and along with like the normal sale you're gonna do, have like a like this week, like if you order during this week, like you can get a Tremors low. You order during this week, like you can order the Pterodactyl, whatever. So we're gonna bring back a couple of our old designs during the sale period, a different one each week. This is the plan right now. This is not set in stone. So it'll give an opportunity for people who are like, oh, I wish you still made the BDPG. Oh, I wish you still made this, whatever. So those opportunities are going to be there. So it's a little thank you to the fans and everything. And we just released a Cicada Fuzz. Um, Super into cicadas in general and the sound they make. They're like really big here in Jersey. And we made this fuzzy tremolo thing that emulates the cicada sound. So we made 17 of those in to honor the 17-year periodical cicada. So maybe we're gonna do something a little different with that because I know there was still some interest in it. I don't know if that's gonna come through during the sale or not. And then we will be at NAM in I'm like, when is it? It's in
Yeah,
January.
January.
We're gonna be doing we'll be part of this like super booth with Dwarfcraft and Small Sound,
Oh, nice.
the dudes at Acid Splash Etching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're just like a bunch. There's gonna be a bunch of us there. My brain is just floating right now, so I can't remember everyone who's gonna be in this booth. But we're getting a big old booth. We're all gonna be working together there, which is pretty nice, and it's nice to have like a big support structure there. And of course, that's kind of like the industry time to like drop the new pedal. Um, and we've got this pedal that's off to PCB right now. We're really into, again, I mentioned Minus the Bear earlier. There's a thing that Dave Knudsen does a lot on especially like if you listen to like Manus El Oso, there's a lot of play a riff, he's got it looped, and all of a sudden it's in halftime, or he plays a riff and all of a sudden it's in double time, or it starts off in double time and then goes back down to normal time. So I really like the way that kind of thing does, and this pedal is not a looper. Let me see if I can coax a sound out of this. So this will be the second time I guess you'll have guitar on here.
Oh,
So
nice. Nice.
let's see. So that's what we're planning on and showing at NAMM. So maybe there'll be some teasers between now and then. Not sure. Everything's kind of up in the air. There's like 1,000 things to do, but pedal wise for like what's coming out, that's something that'll be popping off, popping off at some point. And then there's yeah, look, we do this other cool thing. We worked with this band Super Heaven that's from over the bridge by us to make a special fuzz pedal with them. Um, and we've got some things in the works with a couple other bands right now that we can't announce anything, but the second band that jumped on with this should be announcing theirs in like sometime during September, sometime maybe in October, but those are going to go for pre-sale with their record, I believe. So if you want to do your research and try and figure out who it might be, um, it's a band from the Boston area, and they have something coming out in October. So all you nerds out there can start to get on the web and figure out who it might be.
Now that is a
Um,
teaser. That is a very big teaser. Can we get a
I hope so.
genre?
Well,
Can we get a genre at least?
um,
No pressure.
it's it's heavy music, but there's melody in it. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Heavy, not as heavy as, not doom heavy.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Heavy band, but it's got melody.
Okay.
Boston area. Record coming out in October, I believe. So we'll see.
I will be very interested to see if anybody gets this right. Yeah, that's awesome. If somebody out there gets this right, they can send an email to info@tonemob.com with your guesses. And if any of you get this right, I don't know who it is either, so I'll have to just ask Ryan. I will send you a little something. So everybody, you investigate, see what you come up with.
Yep, we'll send a little something too. So yeah, so we'll find out who it is, and then we'll coordinate your address, and we'll send something weird to your house.
Exactly. Yeah, you might not even want it, what I'm gonna send, but I'll send you something. I don't. Who knows?
Oh yeah. It's just gonna be a bunch of, we're just gonna rip pubes out and tape them to a piece of paper that says like, you did it.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
I'll send you my vas deferens in November.
Geez.
I should ask my doctor if when they snip it, if he can actually just snip a little piece of it, and I can make like a necklace or a ring out of it and give it to my daughter.
Oh, I'm sure that's.
Or give it to my son, and he can wear it like in like a special like ring, and he'll believe it has like some type of power, like fertility power.
Well, it does, clearly. I mean, brought him here.
Yeah.
It's obviously got power.
Yeah. Raw power. Raw power.
Speaking of your son, the anybody who follows you on Instagram, I love his participation in the Pythons 2015. That was quite amazing. That Andy is doing. That's one of my favorite bands. So that's how I was totally following what was going on there. That was great.
That's good. Yeah, we got hooked up with them. My buddy Josh Newton was playing bass with them.
I should tell everyone we're talking about Every Time I Die is who we're talking about right now. So.
Guys, we're talking about Every Time I Die.
Yes.
Seminal Buffalo hardcore band.
So good.
One of the longest running bands at this point in the hardcore scene. Yeah, those dudes work pretty fucking hard. They wait, was I supposed to keep the fucks out? Fuck.
We were supposed to, but you already had other stuff in there. It's too late at this point. It's getting
bleep 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 bleep.
It's getting the E. This one's getting the E.
Oh, great! I did it.
Hey, you're not the first.
Here.
You're not the first for that. So.
Yay. But yeah. They Andy's a good dude. We had a good chat the other night when he was in Philly. About some ideas, but the kids like taking off their shirts and like picking up stuff and throwing it in a river or like throwing it somewhere. So, you know, whatever gets your muscles working and keeps you fit and active. I think it's all part of the Python's 2015 extravaganza.
Right, getting your bod right, as he says.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to work hard for it. You got to want it.
You do. I seen that post, and then I went and kind of dug through some of the back stuff in that, and I was just loving it. And then I was like, well, I guess it's deadlifts tonight. I guess that's what I have to do to, I got to get my bod right. So that's what I'll do.
Well, if you remember, like back in the either it was the late 1900s or the early 2000s, there was something on MTV where they were doing like backyard like gyms, and it was just like dudes. Like what I remember was it was a lot of big I think it was many urban area stuff where it was like just dudes with like cinder blocks in the backyard like doing like workouts. So this is all before CrossFit and everything else. I don't think those guys saw a penny from CrossFit for backyard workout, like like grab a brick and do this stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully they don't come after Andy or Violent Gentleman for pythons. So
I don't think that'll happen. I think he's I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine. Yeah. If they do, I think he'll just throw him in the river anyway, so it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. And since some of you out there may not know what we're talking about, just all my followers are on Instagram. So Pythons 2015, Google the hashtag, you'll see it, or search the hashtag. You can't Google in Instagram, but you know what I mean. So, wow, we have went all over the place.
Yeah,
this is great.
Oh yeah. Well, That's fine. All right, so let's get the train back on track.
Okay,
What else you want to know, man?
I want to know it all. I want to know it all. Okay, another classic question that I've been thrown out there. Dream guitar rig? What is it?
I love the Ampeg VT22. I currently have here an acoustic 135 solid state guitar amp. It's got two rad 12s in there. The thing is loud as hell. Super duper, like so much volume on it. It's just unnecessary. It's got two inputs, reverb tank and all that stuff. The thing is awesome. I don't care what anyone says about solid state amps or whatever. You can go back and listen to a couple of the Queen's records, and they use solid state amps on there, and they sound tubey. It doesn't matter. It's just about being loud. I love this thing, but if I can get an amp, if I had like an extra $900 sitting around, I'd grab a VT22 for sure and be really really happy with that thing. Guitar wise, I'm not actually a guitar player. They're too small for me. So I'll have to go if I was going to buy one. I really like Telecasters. Nash makes some really nice Telecasters.
Yes, they do.
Fender sent me out a one of the baritone Telecasters, and I think that's a really perfect fit for me. Just because it's that in between the bass six and bass to a regular Telecaster. I just feel like I'm like strangling it, and I don't know, my fingers just don't work like that for a little guitar. But if I was gonna pick a guitar, um, since I'm gonna go with a Telecaster, I really do like Joe Troman's signature um, Fender Telecaster. I think they did it right. I like the pickup selection in it. I love, like the tobacco burst on there. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it really simple. And then if I'm buying it too, then my friend will see a couple bucks too. So that helps.
Well, yes. So, well, you forgot an important part of that puzzle there. Beans is you're a pedal manufacturer.
Oh, dude, if you're a guitar player, you don't need pedals. You just plug right into the amp.
Oh, that was the worst thing I've ever heard anyone say
No.
who made pedals. That's
No. You have
Come
to
on,
have a
man.
delay. If you're playing guitar, I think guitar and delay are synonymous, even if you're going to use it in a really light fashion. Um, the longest delay pedal that I've owned is the TC Electronics Flashback, just the little guy.
Right.
I think it's a really smart design that, it's got that clickless, almost clickless clicking. You can loop on it if you really need to. You can get if you hold down that foot switch, you can strum and it'll pick up your your time from that if you really have to go like that. Um, I just think it's a really smart pedal that all the settings on it sound really nice, and you can run it in stereo too. Small footprint. So I think that's a great place to start. A tuner, obviously, I cannot tune by ear. I can't pick out an A from a Q. I don't know.
Especially
Um,
not live. I mean,
well,
that's a.
there's dudes who can do that. I don't know. I don't know how
I
they
don't know
do it,
how.
but
I forget that. That's beyond me.
yeah. And then I guess I would say just a simple drive. If I'm gonna go with something that we make, um, I would put probably a Ram the Man parts just because it's just gonna give it that boosty, nasty volume to it. Or maybe since it's already VT22s are pretty snarly and twangy and nasty. I would probably go for our Demon, and I would put the gate boost on it just so it gets that
Mm-hmm.
sound on the end of those crunches. Yeah, I think that I would keep my guitar rig very very simple.
Nice.
So maybe two delays. I don't know. Yeah,
Two delays. Ooh.
maybe two. Well, because you gotta have different times, and I'm not big on like big digital preset. You know, all that stuff. I'd keep it simple. That way, if one breaks, I can just run. If I was on tour, I would tour. If I could just run to Guitar Center or something and just grab another TC
Right.
flashback, that would be perfect.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What about you? Does anyone ever ask you? What's
Um,
what's your dream rig?
we have talked about. No, I haven't been asked about my dream rig, and that's a,
Oh, you're important too.
well.
People need to care about you. Turn the interview on the interviewer.
That's happened a little bit of times. I have a few things right now that I really, really like. It all depends on what I'm doing. That's my problem. I'm all over the place genre wise when I jam with
All
guys.
right, so here, if you're jamming in your ska band,
Oh,
what's your dream rig?
okay, well, that one would be super simple. Let's see. I'd probably go with actually my Telecaster that I have, which I've talked about before. It's a 74 Tele Custom.
Good.
Uh,
All right, so it's gonna be twangy, so that's good.
yeah,
So you got that. You got your twangy
I'd
tone.
probably rock that into a pretty low gain drive. If we're since we're talking ska, pretty low gain drive, something along the lines of, hmm. I really like. I mean, I have a lot of the stuff that I really, really like, but yeah, even if money wasn't an option, I have things I fell in love with. So I'd probably run it into like either my Mad Professor Sweet Honey or my Spaceman Aphelion Overdrive.
Ooh.
Probably the Aphelion right now is what I'm really digging on. So
They make some really fancy effects, man. That's some top-notch stuff in a small footprint. Them, Chase Bliss, like
oh man,
those guys are doing when you're talking just talking about the small footprint situation, those guys are pulling some crazy shit out right now, and it's really neat.
it is. It's super impressive, and yeah, and you see the gut shots on both of those companies.
Oh
Spaceman's is
yeah.
like a little more like artistic in the layout, the way the layout looks and stuff to me. But the way that Chase Bliss has got everything stuck in there, so nice and neat, and so much stuff in such a small pedal, it kind of blows my mind. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward. I'm hoping he'll be at NEM. I'd love to just shake that dude's hands. That dude's put in his due diligence with between ZVEX and then what he's doing now. And like, I love that he's got his mom and dad working, just doing some stuff here and there. Yeah, it's just cool. I like that family vibe thing. Like, it's really cool.
it is. It's awesome. I'm glad to see that things seem to be going pretty good for him because the pedals are nuts. So I'm glad that people are recognizing that and snatching it up. It's killer.
Yeah, people that can afford it, they don't care that the price. Like, you're getting what you pay for.
Yes, exactly. It's yeah. Oh man, I don't even know what else to say about it. I don't even know what else.
Sorry. So
Oh,
so you've done your ska rig. So now
oh,
what about
sorry.
like your voodoo glow? What about your voodoo glow skulls ska rig? So you can go a little bit more high. No, I'm kidding. We don't have to.
I don't
No. So
actually play that
let
much ska, so this is interesting. Um,
no. I don't know why I'm talking so much. I was talking about ska so much at band practice yesterday. I don't know why.
I haven't played
No.
ska in
So
years, but anyway.
let's. Do you play like what other stuff do you play? Are you playing like punk, or are you playing hardcore? Or are you playing just rock? Like, what are you generally doing right now?
So my band's latest album that we're waiting to get it back right now. It was a very like '90s all like alternative type of
Okay.
thing, and that's not really like my main bag of tricks. But at the same time, it sounds pretty good, and I'm I'm pretty happy with the album. But our
Dream rig that. Yeah, dream rig that.
well, I'm gonna dream rig my next project, and I'm kind of working on it right now. I just don't have an amp situation that I don't know. It's very rough. Okay, right now I'm playing a Rickenbacker 360
Mm.
into generally it's going into a black box the transition era Russian muff where they were
Cool.
still a big box but they were going to the
Yeah.
black stuff, and then into a Fuzz War, Death by Audio Fuzz
Cool.
War, and the guitars I'm usually tuned down to drop D or drop C, and right now it's going into a wicked 15 watt. I had this exact same discussion on the last episode. Now that I'm thinking about it, but by Benson amps, the Monarch. It's a 15 watt head and cab 1x12, and that's been kind of what I've been rocking for this kind of nerd stoner metal project thing that I'm working on. So
Cool.
it's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. My Les Paul Jr.'s got to go in there somewhere. I don't know. My dream rig changes with the wind. I'm the worst. I can't be interviewed apparently because I just jump all over the place. That's
No, but that's good. That makes every interview fresh. Do you want to know? Do you want to know what my dream bass rig is?
yes.
Meat
And I
smoke,
had to say
man.
that with a really high pitched voice for some reason. Yes.
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 We're talking about
Yeah,
bass.
we're talking.
Yes. I'm the bass. I'm the bass
Hi
player. I
guys.
play all the lowest stuff. Um, uh, yeah, dude, the Varela Meat Smoke.
Yes.
I've since he put those out a couple years ago, it's still on my like ooh and ah list. Yeah, and like just everything about them was just done right. And then I'm not crazy particular with like the cabs and everything. I'm really happy with my at this point with my Emperor 212 115. Um, but if we're talking that money's not an issue and I wanted like Andrew Archie's rig from like Godmaker, which is like 30,000 speakers, like he's trying to be it's killing. What's that? There's that the duo, the husband and wife duo who do like the wall of amps on the wall. They travel around the RV.
Oh boy. Uh,
Jucifer. Yeah, I think he's just trying to be like a Jucifer by himself. If you ever
okay.
if you yeah check Google Jucifer and amps and you'll just see like a picture of the two of them like wailing behind like 30,000 amps and cabs. But yeah, I'd love to have like just like a PA like sub like speaker thing just so like I wouldn't feel so bad about like running like disgusting octave down, on like separately out from like my other
That is not
speakers so I
something
can
to
just
feel bad about, Ryan. I'm telling you that you should only feel good about that.
yeah, like like when like Juan Alderete or like dudes who are playing like big venues and they're able to access like front of house kind of stuff more than like like little clubs that will play to be able to like have a place that has like crazy subs and be like, I'll just send this octave down thing or two octave down thing like out to front of house and let them deal with it. Like that's got to be fun just shake a whole room.
That's so good. Oh man, I can't imagine that kind of power. That would be so fun.
It's raw power.
raw,
Raw
raw
power.
power. Okay. Yeah, the meat smoke looks crazy. I that's on a bucket list item for me to plug into. It's just that would just be nuts. As a guitar as a guitar amp, I want to plug into it as a guitar amp because I'm a masochist, I guess. I don't know why, but I do.
But see, but then Mike from Russian Circles plugs into a meat smoke. You can still get that. I mean, you're talking 300 watts of headroom though, so that's you can do the world is your oyster at that point.
That's true.
And my bass,
Yes.
it would be EGC, an EGC bass for sure. I'd love to have an all aluminum guitar. Wouldn't like holding it, but um, you know, because I'm getting old and my back hurts. Wah. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me for bass. Okay, I'm good.
With the aluminum, I'd almost think that would be super light.
No, they're really fucking heavy.
Ah,
They're sorry, I effed again.
it's all right.
Yeah, I want to say they're like for some of them around like 13
Oh,
pounds
whoa.
ish. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, because only
yeah,
aluminum guitar I played was a Normandy, and that is the one that well they have a Telecaster too, but oh well now I'm thinking about it. Anyway their main bag is a hollow body, and so it was
ooh,
super light, and I was like this thing's cool, like I like this a lot, and
yeah,
yeah so yeah it's interesting. I guess I should have realized the EGC stuff would electrical guitar company. Um, that would be a little bit heavier if it's solid. That would be gnarly.
yeah. But who cares about how heavy it is? It's about how it looks.
Well,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and how it sounds. Yeah.
Oh, you got to get it polished up, nice and shiny, and just go. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Good times. Let me see. So we've talked dream, and then the other thing I shift into is I actually usually do this the other way around, but I didn't this time, so we're gonna roll with it. What's the current rig look like? Like, say for this whatever your next project is gonna be. I'm not sure.
So technically, I still have Plutonian, which it was a duo with me and a drummer. But that fizzled last summer. And I wrote some stuff by myself. For that, I was basically for the quote unquote guitar stuff. I was splitting out like doing a biamp thing, so running a guitar rig and a bass rig. I had a Schecter Hellcat bass six, super duper gnarly. So I would use that on some of the songs I wanted to have like a twangier, lighter sound, and then I would play. I have a really super duper beat up like Fender P bass, a Mexico one I got for like 115 bucks. I would use that for some of like the more shady shows we were going to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was down in drop C sharp, just so I could do like the whole failure kind of sound. And um, and then I also have Sandberg a Sandberg custom bass that I had made a couple years ago with with P Model P and Model J pickups that are in there. So that's my main baby, and that's what I've been using for Plutonian. I'm sorry for Caval, which I'm back into doing now. So for Caval, which I'm just playing bass in solely, maybe we'll do some bass six in there, but um, yeah, I'm using the Sandberg, and we do D sharp standard, or E flat standard, whatever you want to call it. And I've got a Mesa Big Block 750, which is a hybrid solid state and tube. So the preamp is tube. I don't use a distortion setting on that at all. It sounds really cool, like when you're alone, but in a band setting, it just drops you right out.
Is it just too scooped or
And
something?
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, a lot of dudes they dig that scoop sound, and like, yeah, if you're in the studio, like you can EQ everyone around, but like when it comes to like people just playing like in your band or whatever, everyone's typically not EQing, and then like, or oh well, we'll switch the distortion on for a scoop sound. Then you guys need to all switch to a setting where your mids are out too, or something. Like it's too much work. So that's what I just use my pedals for. So it sounds great. It sounds great clean, and it sounds great driven. And then I've got my Emperor 212 115. It's a backbreaker for sure.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say,
like how heavy that amp is, or that the cab is, um, but it's what you got to deal with. I can't have a smaller rig and try and compete with loud guitars. So
right. What's that? What
yeah.
speaker are you using for the 15-inch in that thing?
Well, here's the thing. I got it used. I got it used from There's like a total boner moment. The one of the second bass player for Ink and Dagger, which is they were like a vampire punk hardcore-ish band from here back in the 90s. I found it on Craigslist, went up to pick it up, and lo and behold, it was that dude. Grabbed it from him. I want to say they're Celestians. I think they only do Celestians or Eminence in theirs. So it's a 50-50 shot. I'm not a big speaker snob. I don't even know what speakers are in this acoustic 135. I just know that they're loud. So as long as it handles the bass, they're set up for the right ohmage. I'm cool with it. Like, the I did own Harkey, not to like total like crap on Harkey stuff. When I first started playing bass, I just went and got bare bones Harkey stuff, and it while they were really light and easy to carry, I think the speakers were also really light. And there was they just lacked a little graininess and like gnarliness to them. They were a little more trying to maybe sound more hi-fi. So that's not my thing.
Yeah, little more, just kind of a clear type of tone to them. Not a lot of character going on with
Yeah,
those.
well, and that's probably what most bass players or most guys that walk into a Guitar Center are gonna want. So, or Sam Ash or whoever is wherever they're buying from.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not too picky. I'll play out of like an Ampeg fridge. I'll play out of that if we're sharing gear for a night and stuff. And it's nice to play out of something different every once in a while and be like, oh, cool. Like I can sound good through a 610 or an 810. Oh, I can sound good through 15s. Like you know it's variety's fun. But if I've got my choice, I'll just stick with what I got.
Right. Right. Of course. What pedals are you using for the Caval stuff?
So I keep it pretty simple. There was a time when I was using like a really big board and I had like a EHX Hog on there, which I've sold and bought like I think 3 times now. Um, I used to be real. I used to turn over a lot of gear like that. But yeah, right now I'm like looking at what I'm using. I've been using. The rat tail is which we just recently changed to the cat tail for a trademark infringement, avoidment. Company was super, super duper nice with us. Everything's cool. Everything's copacetic. But we, I use my rat tail. Just a regular version, no mods on it. I run it with like a no diode setting, so it sounds big and open. Um, the most fun thing I have on there is a Mogerfoger Freak Box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the 10, I don't know, it's like a 107 or whatever the thing is, but that thing is just awesome, especially when you hook up an expression pedal to one of the outputs, like the frequency output or the envelope output. It's just a nasty noisemaker, and you can do some really cool frequency and filter sweeps with it, without sounding like a low pass filter, like super like funky, like yeah, I would say it's like a filter for guys who don't like funk. If you just want to be nasty,
Gotcha.
um, the and the and I would say that the utility thing that I have besides the tuner on here is an SFX micro thumpinator, and what that does is it's a high performance bandwidth optimizer which kills everything under 50 hertz. So
Oh,
basically, everything that it's debatable and all that stuff, but the human ear really can't discern in a mix like things below 50 hertz. Then you're getting in like into like the sub territory and things, and also like your amp wants to perform at the highest performance. So when you're sending, this is from what I understand. So again, this is don't totally everything I'm saying is not like God's word here, but like um is there a God? No. Um, everything that that goes to your amp from your bass, it's trying to replicate everything in there, and then like if it's and then it tries to send that to the speakers, and the speakers can only handle but so much. So it basically protects. It's helping protect your speakers and give your amp what it really needs to reproduce. So it's just spending its power producing that. So you're getting more out of your amp and not hurting your speakers as much. It's supposed to take away like that thump, like after you kind of like hit your note and you get that. There's like video comparisons that people have done in it. I swear by it. I think it's like more of a it's more of like just a thing to keep my brain of like, okay, you're protecting your amp. You're not going to be blowing your speakers like unless you turn your volume up. Like, and I don't play with like super low bass. So yeah, I used to use a Demeter compulator to also kind of like tame how hard I was hitting and everything, and just try and even things out, especially with tapping. Um, but I've taken that off. I've grown out of that. So yeah, like I said, very super simple. And then like for the fuzz stuff, I've been using my old gray stash, and I just recently practiced the other day. I put a heliotropic on because I just wanted more low oomph and growl out of it, and I think it worked pretty well. So yeah, one fuzz, one distortion that I use as an overdrive, and frequency, and that's it, man. Like that's the core of what we're doing. Really, really raw, really simple.
nice. You can get a lot of mileage out of something like that, though, especially with the freak box on there. You can
Oh
cover a
yeah,
lot of ground that way.
yeah. I'm still lusting after the um the EHX bass micro synth, which again I've bought I think two or three times now, just because you can do some really really neat, disgusting, you know, like almost like auto wah ish frequency sweeps on it and stuff
Mm-hmm.
with octaves and whatever. But I just keep telling myself it's not. I don't need that. That's not a necessity. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I just told myself for the last couple months that I didn't need um the Mr. Black distortion, the limited black limited distortion. I got
yeah,
plenty of dirt. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. And then I see in his email the other day, he's like, we're gonna put it up for $99. I'm like, I need it. I need it.
do
I
it.
need it now. Give it to me. Now I'm so excited to get that thing in my hands. I'm like, oh, why did I wait so long? But it's a good thing I did. Um,
Yeah, he's making some really nice
oh,
stuff,
almost
and it's not gonna stop.
no.
He's
That,
he's at the head of his game right now, and I respect that too. He works with a really small crew too,
yes, he does.
so
Yes.
yeah. So I find that really really inspiring and really really admirable to just continue to keep things really small, but still have a really good output and great reputation.
Yeah, not just the stuff that he's doing under his own.
Yeah, stuff he's helping with other people
Oh
too.
man, he's killing it. It's ridiculous. It
Yeah.
really is. And I have a bunch of his stuff. And my friends have a bunch of his stuff. Actually, one of the coolest overdrives I've played is my buddy's Deuce Coupe. Back when he was just doing the Jack DeVille stuff. The Deuce Coupe is really cool. It's just I like that thing a lot. But anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, it's happened again. You know what? It's happened again. Yet again.
What did we do?
We didn't do anything. Well, we did. We just did what happens on every episode. where I go over the hour mark and I tell the guest the same thing. We could go all night, but everyone's already at work and they turned this off about 10 minutes ago. So man, that was a very, very good chat. I very much enjoyed that.
Me too, man. This is the perfect time. The kids are starting to cry upstairs, so it's that time.
All right. Well, as always, thank you very much for coming on, and we'll have to do it again. All my endings sound exactly the same because this is how I close every episode. So I'm just gonna keep it rolling.
You should not that I can think. You should start singing a song. Sing a different song with everyone. You could be like the Wayne Brady of like. Oh, I said Wayne Brady. That's weird. Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, I'm super duper happy to do this. Would love to come back on again and do some updates and try and see how far I can get you off track again.
Oh, that's fine. I love it. I absolutely love it. Good times.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, for Ryan, I'm Blake Weiland, and everyone, good luck and good tones.
Bye.
See ya.
One last thing before we totally sign off here, I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.